Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 42, a very important episode because this is going to round out season one. My name is Keith. This is my good friend, Doug. Doug, I am so glad we're ending the season on an even number. I don't know. It's those weird OCD things. How do you feel about it, man?
Yeah, I mean, even numbers that could help us next year. You know, my whole put on my aluminum cap thing. So
Tinfoil
we're
Hat
gonna
Chronicles.
we are. So today we're gonna look back at all the greatest hits and the highlights. We're also gonna have a little bit of news, but we're gonna kind of look back and see what we love, what we liked, and what all we talked about.
That's a good point. It's going to be awesome because I think this will be fun. Because when we set out to do this, we didn't know how long we would do it for. It's just something fun that Doug and I wanted to do. Awesome conversations. And we always learn a lot with sharing, articles. And we like, this would be kind of cool. Maybe other people would want to hear it. And our audience growth has proven that. And then the other aspect of it is that not only we're going to look back at all of the best moments of the year, both for the podcast and just the year in general, but also we're going to do a look ahead of what we're looking forward to in 2024. And for this episode, when we close this out, we're going to take a break. And then in the new year, we'll start up what we'll call season 2. Now, I know I've already gotten some comments that seasons are usually actual seasons. I'm counting a season as a year. Why not? So it'll be good. All right, Doug. So we've got, actually, we're a little light on news, but there's a lot to talk about within that news space because some big stuff did happen. So let's get into it. Let's cue up the nerd news.
Nerd news.
Get the share open here.
Okay.
And I'm going to have you, Doug, start on this first one because I know it is something that will be near and dear to your heart because it's something you've been looking forward to.
Absolutely. You know, the biggest announcement of the last week has to be Grand Theft Auto 6. And one of the biggest controversies to start off is it was released, I think, hours earlier or a day earlier due to some internal leaks. So, I'm watching this YouTube video and then all of a sudden I see some news articles pop up on the side. It's releasing immediately. So I go over to IGN is the one that I went to find it first. And they're like, it's releasing immediately. So I watch a trailer and it looks great.
Yeah.
So getting away from the controversy and actually watching the trailer, the images are stunning. The graphics look great. We're going back to Vice City. It's confirmed. Vice City, for those that don't know, is very Miami-esque location. Looks like it also has Florida Keys. And then the funniest part, I believe, is there's a lot of news articles and situations that look very Florida Man-esque. And what I mean by that is if you ever watch the news, Florida Man robs, Florida Man attacks a gator, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Florida. I know. I tease my daughter. I was like, I immediately thought of you because she's in Florida. So, yeah, Florida has a reputation for crazy behavior, and the game is capitalizing on that. And what's funny is, and I'm right now, if you're watching the podcast, I just got the video playing in the background, Digital Foundry website, they did a 37-minute breakdown of the trailer of all the parts and pieces and analyzing it and that sort of thing. So it's so funny. People are like picking this stuff apart. And what's interesting is from a marketing standpoint, they took some of the most viral social media moments of Florida and put it in the game. So you'll have a lady standing there in her nightgown holding like 2 wrenches or something. I guess that really happened in real life. A lady twerking on top of a car as it's driving. They called him the Joker of Florida. He had tattoos all over his face and his mugshot. They had that in the game. And I had read that.
Cut you off
just
for a second.
Yeah, please do.
So that Joker guy actually responded to Rockstar.
I was going to say that. He was mad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, you guys owe me some money. I got a cameo in this video game.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. To me, you're out in the public. You did something. I don't know. You could probably argue the merits of whether he has a case or not.
It's more of a mugshot share than a celebrity share.
I know. It's like, I think it's a money grab on his behalf. Yeah, he looks like
So keep going there.
Anyway, sorry. So the point is that they took all of these viral moments. I think the last one that I remember is somebody getting a alligator out of a pool. There it is. It's on the video there. Lady twerking. So the game looks just over the top. And it's funny that they chose Florida, which is an over-the-top place.
Very.
It's
Yeah.
kind of reputation. So there's also been shots of them comparing Vice City from the original game, which was set in the 80s, to today, and how they've changed the city design and landscape and that sort of thing. So yeah, man, it looks absolutely crazy. And I think, was it 2025 is the release date they were saying?
Yeah. Which that kind of made some people upset. You know, you're releasing this teaser trailer to us, but now we don't get it for a whole 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people were thinking it was going to be 2024. But these things take time, you know. I mean, and it's been like many, many years, since like 10 years almost since the last one.
Yeah, since the last one. I'll look that up, but you got to look at the last one. The thing that really helped them big time was the online experience. That just kept going
Yes.
over and over, and
GTA
all
Online.
the
Yep.
content. I mean,
Tons of content. And I never got into it. I sent Doug a video recently, and it's kind of how I feel. It's like, and it said, why did I never play GTA Online? And it shows this guy, and he earns all this money, works really hard in the game, tweaks his car out. It's perfect. As soon as he pulls out of the Los Santos garage, somebody hits him with a rocket and just blows it up. And I'm like, that's exactly why I never played GTA Online, because of the jerks.
yes. And there's so many stories of that. Now, the cool thing I like, being in law enforcement, they have released a mod that you can be a cop in GTA.
I've seen it on Twitch.
Dispatchers, and you respond to calls. They also have a firefighter.
It's role playing, isn't it?
It's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, I've watched it on Twitch. It's fun to watch because they actually follow procedures, and they have like call-in codes, and it's funny because they have people role playing the actual bad guys and the good guys. So yeah,
I could do that. I know all my 10 codes still. I'm good to go.
You would have fun with that. So yeah, it's kind of neat that they've really gotten versatile with it. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with this. But I know a lot of people are super, super excited about it, and the character models look really good. And so, yeah, if you want an interesting breakdown, read Digital Foundry in their podcast. And that's what we've been playing here while we've been talking. They have like a 37-minute breakdown about the character modeling, about what, like, they even do it still frames. They pause it and zoom in on things, and then they make assumptions about, what's actually happening and who people are. So they're going to pick this video apart nonstop. But this is exciting, even though we won't get it in 2024. It's going to be a really good game. The last thing I'll say about it is, did you see the articles about, they're saying that the announcement of this game is going to launch a health craze. And the reason why is there are people announcing that they're scared they're going to die before 2025 and they won't get to play this game. So all these people are starting to
benefit there.
I need to get healthy.
Nice. So to give some back-end statistics before we switch, in 24 hours, the GTA 6 trailer amassed over 90 million views, which is ridiculous.
Oh my God.
And then back to our original, GTA 5 released September 17th, 2013. Ooh. And it's telling me, this article, that in 3 days of releasing, it generated $1 billion in sales. Billion with a B.
Wow. That means they need to get it right.
Yes.
Because,
and I think,
yeah. Because, I mean, come on.
Kind of taking your time, wait until 2025, and then no telling what's going to happen with AI and with that Unreal Engine 5 coming out.
Between all of that, and then, Jude, can you imagine, we talked about before, them integrating ChatGPT into NPCs on a game like this?
That would be wild.
And then people have already modded out GTA 5 with ultra realistic graphics, and you can do VR.
Yeah,
dude, and then you can have life conversations. It's
almost going to be scary.
Almost,
because if the NPC, if you walk by and they have the NPC say your screen name, username,
I know,
you're gonna be like, "What the
heck?" And then if they have a memory of prior conversations. I mean, you could have NPCs.
Punched me 6 days ago or something.
Exactly. Yeah, you punched me, fool. I mean, it's gonna. I think immersion wise, it's gonna just be absolutely nuts. So yeah, that was probably, I would dare say, nerd technology wise, probably one of the biggest announcements. I mean, it's been all over social media. It's been nuts.
Oh, it's blown up like crazy.
They supposedly are going to have appearances by the original characters too. Franklin, Michael, and Trevor, which would be awesome because I love those characters. All three of them were just
that'd be great.
Wonderful characters. So if they're in the game, that'd be great, but they're going to be old. So that'd be awesome. I think it'll be really good for carrying the story forward. So, all right, on to the next one. Now, this is a big one. So we talked about it before. So Google already had an AI called Bard. We played with it even on the podcast here. Even we did some live searches where we had it, do some creation of images and that sort of thing. A lot of people criticized Bard because it wasn't quite as good as ChatGPT 4 in some of the responsing, that sort of thing. A lot of that is it was probably trained differently on different language models, that sort of thing. However, Google announced this week they've come out swinging with a new AI called Gemini. And according to them, it is a direct competitor to GPT-4. Now, in their address, they show that we outcompeted GPT-3. But they did a demonstration video that is so mind-blowing. It's crazy. They show they had different, versions of how it breaks down. And they even get into like the reasoning and the math behind it. But in this video, they actually show it a picture of the world, like a map. And they essentially say to the GPT through voice, they say, hey, I want to play a game with you. And it says, okay. And it said, please use the picture in front of you. It analyzes the picture. And then it says, in this game, I want you to use emojis. So it says, okay, and it makes a game up on the fly. And basically it says, this country is known for, and it shows a picture of a koala, a kangaroo. And then all he does is, and this is a camera, he points to Australia. And it pops up with a check mark. And it goes, good job, you got it right. Like real time, it made a game by looking at an image, or it would show it something and it could describe it and tell you all about it. So this is interesting. So we talk about competition, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see what this does when it comes to GPT, because a lot of people talk about GPT-5 and its image recognition. I'll give Google credit. They went really, really deep in explaining how it works. Like they had math equations, you need to write them out, and it would like take a picture of it and tell you what was wrong, tell you how to solve it. It's getting nutty, Doug. So what are your thoughts on this?
So I shared a link over on the side for you. I'll talk about in a second. I thought the demo was crazy. The technology coming from all these companies and the power of AI is just amazing. Now, the link I shared with you over on the side,
yep,
they kind of faked some of the demo, but I don't think, to give Google a little defense, I don't think they're the only ones that have kind of faked some demos out there. So.
Yeah, and just for those that are audio listening, in the video, and I forgot about this, they start drawing on a Post-it with a Sharpie, and the AI in real time explains, oh, it's a bird. Oh, no, it's a duck swimming in water. It essentially translates what's being drawn in real time. So that's one of the pieces that they do.
My assumption on the accusation is that they're possibly showing things that they know it's going to do. They just haven't programmed it yet.
It's more of a prototyping.
I don't really hold that against them. Not that I'm siding with Google, but
video games have been doing that forever. I mean, you look at E3.
Yes, they have.
People criticize like, oh, well, compare the trailer to the launch. It's not the same. Or Cyberpunk was one that came to mind. They heavily criticized the video.
Oh, big time.
But then it turned out being good. Another good one in this is the shell game, the magic shell game. They put something under the cups and they moved all the cups really, really fast. And it could tell them where it was. So,
amazing. Yeah.
It's nuts. It can make a connection with objects. It tells you what they are. It's crazy where this is going. I mean, it's like we live in an alternate timeline. Every month, it seems like to me that there's some kind of a leap. Like even on the video here, they took a blue ball of yarn and a pink ball of yarn, and they basically said, hey, what could I make with this? And it shows examples, pictures of like crocheted pigs and things like that. It can solve problems, AI problems about what directions, which one does what matching games. It can solve dot to dots. It like can tell you what it is. I don't know, man. It's getting kind of nutty.
Well, so just kind of throwing things out there. This is coming right off my brain. like the medical field. You have an AI assistant with all the knowledge of the entire world watching you as you do medical procedures.
Yep.
Kids in school, as long as they're not plagiarizing and cheating on their tests, they're actually learning something.
Yep.
But then I look at more mischievous things like,
Oh,
can you
scary.
imagine this in the Flipper Zero? We've talked about that before.
Oh, yeah.
The little hacking tool and stuff for those non-law following citizens of the world.
Yeah. It's
That's
a tool.
what I worry about. I worry about scammers, and I worry about deep fake AI voices and stuff.
I look at it as a tool. It's like a hammer, right? You can do a lot with a hammer. You can build something with a hammer, but guess what? You can mess somebody up with a hammer. Depends on whose hands it's in. I recently started. I do IT for a living, and just to broaden my horizons, because I see where this is going, I've started on an AI cert through Microsoft that I started working on, and so I've been doing all this studying and reading up and taking this program, and it points out the merits of AI, and it talks about how it can do a double check on human eyes for X-rays, which is kind of cool if you think about it, because sometimes things are missed in an X-ray. It talks about how it can do these certain things like that and the value that it can bring. So I do think that there's opportunity to enrich life like any tool. It can be used for good or bad. Look at the internet, dear Lord. It's amazing, but it sucks too at times.
Absolutely. Yeah, to kind of close out the whole topic of AI, I saw a article and I shared it with you there. The European Union is enacting some laws to restrict AI, restrict what it can do. And the one of the coolest things I saw that it's actually making a law where citizens can complain about AI to their company.
Oh, okay. So it gives a mechanism for people to keep organizations responsible.
So AI, as we've talked through the entire year, is an amazing thing, but I still think we need to put limitations on it.
Yeah, a lot of people do. So we will talk about AI more here in a little bit, I am sure, because it keeps popping up. We'll talk about it when we get to our year in review. So keep looking for Google Gemini. It's going to be in the news next year, I'm sure, especially with ChatGPT 5 and those things bringing back up. On the same AI topic is this one. Doug, I'll let you tackle that headline. It's a funny one to me.
So I'm reading the title, McDonald's will use Google AI to make sure your fries are fresh. I'm thinking, what
of all the things you could use AI for, you need
now,
fresh
the only
french
thing
fries.
I can think is if they're looking on a potato for brown spots or something. But
it could be. It doesn't
I'm
go
sure
into
it. Dives deeper into that.
Yeah, it says the fast food company says it will be applying generative AI to its operations starting in 2024. It doesn't go into a lot of detail about how they're going to do that. It just says, according to the company, the outcome will be hotter, fresher food for customers. So here's my thing, McDonald's. Okay. If you already don't have a thermometer and you're not checking your
that's pretty bad.
Really? I don't know. So
life hack. I'm going to share a life hack at McDonald's here. From a foodie that's a little thick. My bad. Anyway. So when you go to McDonald's,
thick foodie tip coming through.
Yep. You say you want French fries with no salt. Sorry, salt messes me up. So you get hot, fresh fries, no salt. And then before you leave, can I get some salt packets? Boom, hot fries. There you go.
I've heard that one actually, because then they're hot, right?
Yeah. So get your fries, no salt, and they should be nice and hot usually.
Yeah, I was trying to bring up the actual versus real. What they need to do is do AI where what they market their food to look like. They should use AI to make it actually look like what they market. So on the screen, I brought up what they advertise a Big Mac looks like versus what it actually looks like.
Yes, it looks terrible.
So
I encourage people to go out there and watch those YouTube videos of how fast food commercials are made.
Oh, they're so cool. It's all fake food.
Really cool. They spin the plate. They do awesome camera shots, different lighting techniques.
A lot of it.
And that burger looks amazing, but I'm sure it's like cold.
Well, and oftentimes it's not real food. Oftentimes it's like glue and, it's props.
But it
is
looks
what it
amazing.
Is. Yeah. So we're going down a rabbit. I think we're hungry. That's probably what it is.
I'll just close it out as all these fast food chains are catfishing us with their photos.
That's what they're doing. And they need to use AI to fix it. That's what we propose.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So the last one on the news list here Basically, it boils down to Sony PlayStation. We've had this conversation over and over on the podcast about digital games versus physical collecting. We've had collectors on between, Brian and Kevin, the game collector, and we've talked about this, and there's a trend leaning towards, especially with consoles, going more digital. But there are pros and cons to it. As you know, I'm pro digital because I don't like things taking up space. I'm just not a physical collector. But there's downsides, and that's what this is. So Sony essentially removed content from players. They were digital games that people had actually purchased and bought, and they basically revoked the rights to them. In the title, it says that PlayStation keeps reminding us why digital ownership sucks. Sony's content removals and unexpected account bans are timely reminders of why you don't own digital content. Now, this is really getting into the whole argument about, do you really own a digital game or not? If a company like Steam, Microsoft, or Nintendo, or Sony can just take it out of your store. Because remember, it's not physical. And they basically said they removed these games. They said in less than a week, Sony has given out digital ownership issues. They basically said that Sony removed these items because of content licensing arrangements. Users would not be able to watch Discovery content that they purchased, and the content would be removed from their libraries. And that's for the visuals. They did the same for some games. It kind of makes you think that where they screwed up is that if you're going to allow people to buy digital content, then there needs to be a provision in there that means they keep it in perpetuity. Oh, that's a big word. But I don't know. This is definitely, me, I'm pro digital, but this sways me a little bit. I'm like, if they start yanking stuff out, I'd be mad. If Steam started removing stuff out of my store after years of collecting digital content, I'd be ticked. And if they decided, oh, well, licensing. So I don't know. Does this sway you at all, Doug? I know you're not like a physical game collector, but you do. I think you actually probably have more stuff than I do. So just with your arcade and things like that.
Yeah. The arcade obviously not connected to the internet. All the games on there, they should never go away unless I have a hard drive issue.
Yeah.
This whole situation reminds me of end user license agreements. Whether you get a new phone, new game, whatever, we click yes, 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 just to get out of those end user license agreements. There are pages and pages of legalese written by some lawyer somewhere that we're never going to read. I mean, if I get a game or a new phone next year, I'm not going to read it. I'm just, yep, cool. Let me get to my phone. So I'm sure hidden in there somewhere is you don't actually own this game. And if Sony loses the license, then ta-da, you don't have any more.
Yeah.
I agree with the clutter. Yeah. I agree with the clutter of not having physical boxes and stuff. But there's also, we've talked about having a nice collection to show off and look at and see.
I admire it. Like, I like it. That's why I like watching collectors like, Metal Jesus on YouTube or Radical Reggie. I love seeing their collection. I love it when they do walkthrough videos of their collection. I admire it. It's not for me to do personally, but I admire it. I think it's awesome. I think it's great for preservation. I love it when we go help Brian at the retro game.
Oh, just so many stuff to look at. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of memories wrapped up in that too, right? For us. Now, there's a time that will probably change because there's kids growing up without physical games now, and they don't mean much to them.
No.
But I am surprised. We go to those cons, and there's like a lot of young people there.
Yeah.
So, who
knows?
And
I think, unless I'm just totally wrong, I think that's a generational thing. Their dad, their uncle, their grandpa, I mean, we're getting to the grandpa stage, had these games. And no. So I had these games, and it's such a core memory of, I love slapping that, I'm going to Super Nintendo, love slapping that cartridge in the top, clicking that hard power button on, and powering it up. And we don't have that anymore. It's just a quiet push of a button. All this digital electronics powers on, and there you go.
Yeah. But this whole situation with Sony does call into question the validity of digital collecting and whether or not you really own that content. So they're going to have to hash that out for sure.
Absolutely. It's hidden somewhere in that end user agreement, I'm sure.
It is. All right. I think that does it for the news. So I'm going to pivot here, and we're going to go on to our next topic. We're going to just do a year in review, and we're going to first start by just kind of talk about like what all did we do this year. We did a lot. 42 episodes is a lot of content. Doug, while I get that queued up, I'm going to have you just kind of set us up and talk about the review of our guests and who we had and that sort of thing. And then we'll kind of go over some stuff.
Yeah, you talk about 42 episodes. I don't even think my wife would want to listen to me for an hour, but 42 hours worth of content. So,
Well, that's
kind
hilarious.
of, oh, yeah, she's probably listening in the other room. It's okay. Great guest, great topics. The first thing we'll tackle, we had Frank the Tank. We had Kevin, our retro game collector. Leah, our Disney Parks worker, kind of getting an inside look at Disney operations down there in crazy old Florida. We had Brian, our arcade builder collector, our guy we go travel do these cons with. And then we kind of ended out with Alex learning about Star Citizen, all the money that he spent or money he hasn't spent on such a crazy game.
Yeah.
So it's been a great year.
It really has. We had some amazing guests on here, and we have some few more that we're working on for next year. So, the guest ones are always fun because they always seem to go longer just because we're having such a good time learning new things. Everybody we had on was just so awesome gracious with their time, always learn something cool, super exciting. I love the interview ones. They just take a little bit more work to line up because we're trying to match up 3 people's schedules, and oftentimes our guests are super busy as well. So moving on to our personal favorite topics, it's in just general themes, right? Well, actually, we'll talk about themes here in a moment. Let me get that off the list. So, but my favorite topic, like my top 2 at least, I really enjoyed doing Comic-Con with Doug. It was his first Comic-Con. And it was cool to show everybody what we saw from our eyes. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And in that same vein, it was fun to show the retro game conference that we went to that we actually worked. And that actually helped boost some of our audience because we were actually handing out stickers and contact cards and that sort of thing to socialize the podcast. But then my personal favorite, which happened recently, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. And I got a lot of comments from people, is Doug's birthday gift, mainly because his reaction was priceless, which I got to give full credit to Brian. It was all his idea, and it's the Pit Boy is what we gave him there. Spoiler alert. Sorry about that if you haven't seen the episode.
Yeah, if you're on video, I'm showing it on my lovely display. I've got some retro big box PC games, Pit Boy, and then if my fingers are right, the Pit Boy.
You got it. Yeah, man. That was my personal favorite just because it was fun. And then I have to rank the interviews up there as well. They were just, every single interview was a blast, and I learned so much. So what about you? Yeah. Like, when you gloss over all the stuff we've done, what ranks up there for you, Doug? Is it similar?
It is similar. I like the outings. I think next year, hopefully, we're going to do a lot more. We're going to have more videos, more pictures. But the interviews, I think, just talking to the people, seeing what they love about technology, about video games, about pop culture,
tips,
nerd culture.
Tricks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Getting deep down, like Frank the Tank, slap fighting. Like, I had no idea about slap fighting, and he told us everything. That was so interesting. And then kind of breaking down Kevin, the retro game collector, has such a love of Nintendo, Super Nintendo, breaking that down. And then I can keep going on, but, Leah talking about behind the scenes, and then Brian, our buddy. We're going to have a lot more episodes, I'm sure, with him on. He is a great addition to us. Yep. And then Alex, I knew nothing about Star Citizen, breaking that down. So talking to these guys, hey, we're going to do this for 45 minutes or so. And then it's 50 minutes, an hour and 10. It keeps going on because they're so passionate about what they're talking about. So
and that's
my favorite part.
And they're very too. Like we'll probably have Alex on because, well, Alex is a Star Citizen expert, obviously. He's also in cybersecurity. He does white hat hacking, and we didn't even scratch the surface of what Alex really knows and the stuff he can get into in the really tech way. It's scary, some of the things that he can point out when it comes to hacking and what's possible. Because we kind of, at the end of the show, touched on that Flipper Zero thing that Doug's talked about before. And so we're going to have him back. We're going to have all of these people back, I'm sure, at some point, and just kind of touch base with them. And then more. We're working on some new guests as well. We have some friends that are in the film industry, and we're going to have some on that actually have worked on some of our favorite films, including Marvel films, things like that. So that's in the works. So it'll be a big year for interviews for 2024, hopefully, as long as we can get all the schedules to line up. That's really the biggest challenge with it. I would love to where we had a podcast where we just do tons of interviews, but dude, it's a lot of work to line up interviews.
It is a lot of work.
It really is. But they pay off really. They're worth it. But that's why you notice we'll space them out to where let's focus on the regular format of just, let's talk about the news, because the news is always ever changing and keeps it fresh. That's the beauty of the news. And so, that kind of moves us into our numbers. We want to share some numbers with everybody. So let me go ahead, and we're gonna give you a peek behind the curtain here of our different show numbers. Now, the way that this works, and it just kind of explain it. We have two sets of data. Okay, so we have two listener types. We have two types of audiences. We have those that only listen by audio using, Spotify, using Apple Podcasts. By the way, we don't have a lot of them when you look at the data, but I'm gonna let everybody know. Google announced they're getting rid of Google Podcasts, which we are on that service. Now we don't have a lot of listeners on that, so it's not our biggest is definitely Apple and Spotify. They dominate, or just listening through the web. So there's people that listen, and then there's people that watch. And watching can take place in two places. Watching takes place on Spotify. You can listen or watch on Spotify, or you can listen and watch by YouTube. So our primary hosting service is called Anchor, and essentially it has one set of data for all the listeners or watchers on Spotify, but then we have a whole separate other data for YouTube. I have to explain that just so that we walk through the numbers here. So let's kind of get through this. Let's listen. Let's start with the listeners. Now, you could watch on Spotify as well, but the number one episode for this season, believe it or not, is the Steam Summer Sale, which has a top end listen of 55. So this one surprised me. This one always kind of comes up, but when we flip over to YouTube, you're going to see something similar. So that's kind of interesting. It is. That's like,
yeah.
I thought it'd be higher. What did you think? I mean,
that surprises me as well. I'm surprised it wasn't an interview, but then I go back to we are the TV guide for your purchases. We're showing you all the cool stuff. We're slowly scrolling so you don't miss anything, so you can make an informed decision.
Yeah, try to call out those deals. Now, number 2 on the listening front, on the Spotify front, is the interview with Kevin, the retro game collector. Now, I'm pretty sure Kevin probably just listened to it over and over and over again. Maybe he pumped his numbers up. I don't know.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah.
But it was good. He had a lot of great tips, especially for people that want to get into collecting. And we did his right around the time we worked with Brian, the game collection con. And so it was really good timing. And maybe that's why we were in kind of a theme there. So, but that's number 2 for listens on Spotify. Number 3 was the interview with Leah, my daughter, for the behind the scenes Disney. And why that's so cool, that doesn't surprise me. It's because Disney's pretty guarded with how things work there. And having her talk about that was just really cool. Talk about pulling back behind the curtain.
Definitely.
Number 4, interview with Brian, the arcade custom builder and retro game collector. And these are all like thin margins. I mean, the Steam Summer Sale was 55, 47, 43, and 42. I mean, those are pretty thin margins of listening. And finally, we'll just round it out. The top 5 is the home technologies, which is a good one, which at 40 grand total plays. And so, again, people want tips on how to do things. And so let's flip on over to YouTube. Now, YouTube is a different animal. So this guy, number 1 is, which we're not surprised. And I think it's because he already had a presence on YouTube, and that is Frank the Tank Slap Fight Champion for the UFC. That's number 1. And, it doesn't surprise me. His views are just crazy. I mean, it's like we're up to 127. We were in like the 40s and 50s, 57, I think was the top end on Spotify for listen. But for YouTube, we're up in 127. That doesn't surprise me. I think it's because Frank already has a presence with a lot of his videos on YouTube. And so this one did not surprise me at all. Let's look at the YouTube here. I got to hover over each one. Here it is again, Doug. The second one on YouTube was a look ahead at the 2023 game releases, the release schedule.
Well, and I think that's what they like. We preview movies coming up. We preview games come up. Yep. They're like, these guys are doing research for me and kind of showing me what this game's all about.
Yep. It's easy to miss stuff too, right? Because there's so much information out there. So we try to do our recaps. Let's see. Number 3, retro gaming and the Steam Deck. This was one where we talked about how to modify the Steam Deck, upgrade the memory, which I did on mine, and then also running emulators on it, which, that's a good one. that was a fun one to do. That was early on,
Absolutely.
if I remember correctly. Number 4 for YouTube. There he is again. He's a star. Kevin, retro game collector. Look at that.
We're going to have him back on. Yeah.
He's blowing up. I don't know. Everybody must have loved Kevin. That's what it is. Either that or he's just playing these things on repeat or telling all his friends to go check it out. Maybe he's marketing.
Yeah.
Maybe he's marketing his own stuff. You think?
He might be.
And then finally, number 5 for YouTube. Again, Disney interview with the cast park member, Leah. So yeah, that's
great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm just curious about number 6. See, I could just keep going through these, and it goes back to the Last of Us show, spoiler warnings, and of course, again, talking about upgrading the PS5 M.2 storage. Now, one thing Doug and I talked about is doing more how-to videos, like how do I upgrade my PS? And we actually will do an upgrade. We have friends of ours. I think it is Joe and Aaron talked about actually having us record doing their upgrade. And just show them, walk them through it. I'll walk through it. Now, there's billions of those on the internet. So the only difference would be, Doug and I's witty commentary as we do it.
Oh, yeah.
So we talked about branding out into that. We've had requests about people, why don't you play games? Well, the hard part about playing games is that we're a podcast and it's audio. And so, maybe at one point we'll do a special thing where we only put it on YouTube, but it wouldn't be like an audio listen because I wouldn't want to listen to somebody play a game. So we want to be mindful of both the audio listeners and the video as well. So those are the numbers. Let's see.
Yeah, they look good.
Stop that share. So,
themes.
Go into themes right there, buddy.
Yep. Just a real quick thought. We have low numbers, but we have a lot of passionate listeners, I think.
We do.
And I think, at least in my mind, I didn't set out to do this podcast to make money. I did it to have fun with a really good friend and learn a lot of stuff along the way. So I'm not mad about our numbers or upset. We're under 1,000. We're under even 200-300, but we're having a great time, and we're giving good quality content to those that listen to us. So
yeah,
if we can expand next year, that'd be great. But we're having a great time and doing a lot of cool things.
And if you look at the views on like a single video, that's like 157 views. That's not very high for views. I will fully admit it. But our consistent audience between the two platforms, we talked about this for, we're in the hundreds. That's still awesome. That means there are hundreds of people who consistently listen to us. And they may only catch an episode here. And the thing is, it may not be your jam. You may not care about, Star Citizen. So you skip that video. Cool. That's why we're trying to tell you, maybe just listen to the news. And I think that's what's going on when you look at the analytics. Oftentimes the show isn't listened all the way through. I think a lot of people are like, you know what? They're going to be talking about something that's not my jam for the main topic. But I'm going to check out the news. And that's fine. That's fine. So I think that's what the data shows us. But we're not in it for money. We're not in it for anything other than we're just having a good time. We're just sharing cool stuff that we enjoy. So let's talk about the theming now. I think this is hands down easy winner for us. Doug, what do you think the theme is?
If I had to give a guess, it'd probably be AI.
You think?
Man, talked about AI. Well, let's look a year back. AI kind of started, they released ChatGPT, they released Bard, and then, oh my gosh, within months and months and months, they just exponentially grew.
Yep.
So looking forward to next year, I'm sure we're going to talk about AI every single episode, a little news article. But I think the growth and the technological advance is going to be so great. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because you have to remember, I think the reason why it dominated was ChatGPT 4 really hit hard, I think, in around the time we started the podcast. Maybe in the fall, a little bit before, but it really picked up. It picked up steam in the news around April. And we started, you had that in here. Our first episode was April. No, it wasn't. It was February 4th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we started this podcast around the time it was starting to really blow up. And so I think that's why it dominated as our primary theme. And so I'm sure you'll hear more. It'll be interesting to see where it's going to go. It's obviously, you heard the news this morning, it's going to continue to evolve with competition, other companies starting to get into the game. It's definitely, it's going to be interesting as we head forward.
Absolutely.
So a year in review, real quick, before we start looking ahead, is this past week, they did release the Game of the Year awards. And there's some controversy because a lot of people felt like some games were snubbed. We'll see. We're going to walk through some of these and see if we agree with this. So right out the gate, Game of the Year was won by Baldur's Gate 3. I did not play this game. It's on my list. I want to play it so bad. I watched my son play it. We talked about it on the show. Like we actually.
Oh yeah, it looks great.
Oh, it looks great. It's by Larian Studios, and what makes it varied is it encompasses the roll count. So you can do almost anything in the game. Like you can slap somebody, kiss somebody, punch somebody, kick a squirrel, whatever. But the dice roll determines whether you're successful or not. And I think that level of variety, just really now
that definitely puts a different aspect on the game there.
It does. It gives it playability, like replayability, right? Now, a lot of people are mad. I'm just going to read through the list. We're not going to do this for all of them, but for Game of the Year, it was Alan Wake 2, which I heard was really good. Baldur's Gate, of course, that won. Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which I heard was amazing. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. What's missing on that list, Doug?
Starfield.
That's right. Mean, people are mad.
Bethesda, I think, had such a great new franchise, or a new title in their repertoire. Is what I'm trying to say. But
a lot of people are mad because it wasn't included. Yes. Now, I'm gonna go a weird take. I'm gonna defend them. I was playing it last night. I've been playing it many, many nights lately. I've been really into it. It keeps crashing. Like it'll lock either on a load screen and it just throws me back. And I'm playing on a console. It's not on my PC even. And so, and that's Bethesda. That's what they do, right? And it'll get better. I mean, I remember Skyrim was a hot mess whenever it came out. Oh, yeah. So to me, if it's not as polished and I don't think it deserves Game of the Year in that regard. The content does. The content does. Yeah. But I'm still experiencing that so many months later on a console.
Yep. I had a issue that killed my achievements. So spoiler alert, not too much, but there's an end mission in the Crimson Fleet campaign. I cannot get through a certain door. I won't spoil anything for anybody. I had to use a console command, which in turn disabled all my achievements to finish the mission. So to me, that really upset me. So I'm having the same issue as well.
I had that last night. It wasn't even a main mission. It was a side mission, and I can't get, it should let me get through the door, and it just says inaccessible. And I Googled it and read it. It's like, oh yeah, the workaround is don't talk to the lady, go to the door first, then talk to the lady. Well, I already talked to the lady. And they're like, well, you're just going to have to reload your save before you talk to the lady. And I'm like, and a lot of people are complaining, like, I just lost like 3 levels and I have to rebuild it. I mean, I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
That's why Bethesda, you don't get Game of the Year, in my opinion. But I love your game. I love you. It's amazing. But you don't get Game of the Year.
It's amazing, yeah. So. Well, look at Cyberpunk. It had a lot of issues, but I think it is just kicking butt now with the newest update.
It's going to be on the list here because I think it's most improved or something like that. So let's run through the best direction. Game direction was Alan Wake 2. Best adaptation. This is Last of Us. Basically, it's taking it from screen to from game to screen. Of course, your Twisted Metal's on there, Doug. It did get an honorable mention, so that's good. So did the Warner Brothers.
It's coming back for season 2, everybody.
It is. Yeah. It is. So that's on there. Best narrative, Alan Wake 2 again. So there's dominating. Best art direction, Alan Wake 2. Talk about a sleeper hit. I know. I was thinking, talk about a sleeper hit. The first one wasn't. I was excited about the first one.
I haven't even played the first one. Yeah,
I didn't like the first one. I wasn't a fan. So, best score, Final Fantasy, of course, because they have amazing, sounds on that. Best audio design was Hi-Fi Rush. Never played that one. I guess Bethesda was involved in that one. Best performance is Baldur's Gate. Neil Newbon, who's a voice actor. Innovative in accessibility, Forza Motorsports. The big thing you saw this, they have Diablo on here. What I love, Diablo had like colorblind options for menus, things you've never seen before, which is great for accessibility, people with handicaps. Games for Impact. I don't even know how if I would call that indie games. Chia, I don't know what that one is. We'll keep on going. Yeah. Best ongoing game. Here you go, buddy. You just named it. CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk 2077. Now, I haven't played this since they did the DLC release. I am going to go back to it probably on the Christmas break. Restart a game with the DLC.
I think I'm restarting it as well.
Have you started
Idris
it yet?
Elba comes in. No, I beat it several times before any of the updates.
What about the DLC? Have you done that?
I have not played it at all, no.
The Liberty.
And now they made this massive update with more dating options, which I don't care.
Who
More
cares about that?
missions, more side quests, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm going to play it again because it's now fixed. Because you're right, I played the heck out of it when it was broken, and I loved it when it was broken. But they say it's so good now. So
Well, the biggest thing, and I know we keep going here, but they added in-car combat. That was one of the major complaints of no in-car combat at all, and
yeah,
they've totally added that.
that's cool. And we're not going to go. This list is pretty long, but I do want to call it best independent game. Sea of Stars, which I heard great things about it.
Mhm.
It's more of a retro
I've been wanting to
style
check it out.
RPG. It's on my list. But what's funny is I love, and I talked about it on here. I fell in love with a game called Dredge. Oh my gosh, this game is so good. Everybody's
It's
got to
on my
play this
wish
game.
list.
Oh, play it. I don't care what platform you're on. I
Yeah.
play it on my Steam Deck, but they have it on multiple things. It's so good. It's such a good, fun little chill game. Got to play Dredge. Everybody does. I'm just kind of rolling through here. I will say best VR, Resident Evil Village. They said this, which is pretty cool. I didn't even know they had a Gran Turismo 7 in VR because I'm not in the VR, so I didn't know what they had done. But
Yeah, I know.
best action game, Armored Core. I'm just kind of hitting the highlights here.
Yeah.
Adventure, Legend of Zelda. Best RPG, Baldur's Gate 3, of course.
Yep.
Fighting game, Street Fighter 6. Family game, Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Best strategy sim game, Pikmin 4, which I never got into that series, but I heard really good things about it.
Yeah, I never have either.
Forza,
Hey, but if you scroll back up, you
Yep.
got an honorable mention for Advanced Wars.
love, that's my game. That's right. I didn't even see that.
Yep,
Sam
I had to
Jones.
throw that out there.
Yeah, that's a great game too. Really, you go over this list and you look at multiplayer. Baldur's Gate 3 got it, but Diablo 4 was on there. We had a really good
We
year.
did
in
have a
gaming.
good time together. Yeah,
We did.
on Diablo 4.
Oh no,
Good
yeah,
year too.
yeah. But there's some just great stuff on here. So, but that's kind of the look behind. Let's look ahead as we march ahead here. And you put this list out here, and we hadn't gone through it. So these are the all new video games launching in 2024. I'll let you kind of run down some of these. Which ones strike your fancy?
Yeah, I started to type them, and I just saw so many things I was excited about. So
What are
the
your
first
highlights?
one would be Bulletstorm VR. I don't have a VR, but it looks really good.
Mhm.
The one I'm excited for is The Last of Us Part 2. It says PS5. I'm hoping they bring
Great.
that port to
They will.
PC as well.
It's remastered. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. Last of Us Part 2 is already gorgeous. I don't think it needs a remaster, but that's my 2 cents. They do need to bring it to
Right.
PC, though, for all my PC people.
You know, I have The Last of Us Part 1 on my wish list. It's had a couple issues, but I think they put out some patches.
They have. It was a rough
Continuing
launch.
to go down the list. I mean, there's just so many things coming out next year.
Oh, wow.
They're remastering Tomb Raider 1 through 3. You know, I remember the great days of playing that on PlayStation 1.
Mhm.
It was awesome.
I'm going to call out right here soon. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Looks so good. It's been delayed
I've
numerous
seen screens
times.
for that.
We're looking at a February 2nd launch. The Persona games, they're redoing that. Persona 3 Reloaded, which was on the PlayStation 2, I believe. Those are great games.
Now, shout out to the old PC days, Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster.
Oh my gosh. That's going to be so good.
That's going to be a great one, yeah.
I love Star Wars Dark Forces. Dude, look at that. That's going to be so good. And that's in February. Look, Terminator Dark
Right
Fate.
around the corner.
Dark Fate
Yep.
Terminator. Dude. This is so good. This makes me excited. My brother, now this isn't the one. No, this is the one Brian is excited about, is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's the continuation of when they redid Final Fantasy VII. And so he's excited about that one. He was telling me about it.
Yeah, I haven't played a lot of Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy games, but I think everybody keeps talking about 7 was possibly the best one they ever
Oh,
made.
yeah. They're really good. Homeworld 3, which is a PC game, strategy space one. I'm excited about that one. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through here, Doug. If you see one in the list, just tell me.
Yeah,
I know we're getting short on
there's a
time.
lot of titles I don't know, but I'm definitely going to check them out in this list. Keep going.
No release date. on some of
Warhammer,
these.
I've played a couple of those. They're really good strategy games.
Those are good, based on the tabletop experience.
And then the no release date, you know, they're still working on them. There's a lot of titles that
some could get
here.
pushed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of, it looks like DLC, like Elden Ring, Shadow of Erdtree. I don't know if that's a part 2 or if that's a DLC. Because Elden Ring was huge last year. So I'm just kind of going through here. Greedfall, that was a big one that was kind of coming down the way. Just so many on this list. We're probably going to have to do a whole episode on it. Look at the Star Wars games. Star Wars Hunters, Star Wars Outlaws. I know the Outlaws was at E3, with the trailer. People were really excited about that.
The Ninja Turtles are getting another one. Mutant Mayhem.
Mutant Mayhem, untitled game for consoles and PC.
Yeah.
Test Drive coming back. Test Drive Unlimited, Solar Crown. Look at that. Test Drive coming back in. World of Warcraft.
So lots and lots of stuff coming out next year.
Oh, dude, there's just so much. We're going to have to do whole episodes, talking through this and see what is and what isn't going to come out. So, yeah, this is awesome. So, as we pivot real quickly, let's talk about movies.
Yeah.
We also have some great movies in 2023. We didn't have enough time to go through
lots
those.
and lots.
But
so
let's run these
right
down.
off the bat, Mean Girls, it's they don't call it a redo, they call it a reimagining,
A reimagining? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I guess. The first Mean Girls still makes me laugh. It's hilarious. Argyle, it's a undercover cat. I have no idea.
Looks so good.
So.
Yeah, I made a mistake.
Keep going down the list.
Yeah,
Madam Web. It's kind of Spider-Man without Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's an obscure Marvel. They're kind of they're doing a deep cut on that, but it looks good. The trailer looks good. And
now,
I think
the next one I'm super excited for is Dune Part 2.
You love some Dune?
I thought the first Dune was great. That 80s movie, they had all 3 books smashed into one movie. I did not know what was going on at all. This new series explains everything so well, I think.
Yep. And they got some great actors in it, too. Some new actors. So it's going to be really, really good. Kung Fu Panda 4.
Hey,
I didn't even know there were 2.
Still with Jack Black, so that's good.
Yep, that's good. Ghostbusters.
I know you're excited about this one. Yes.
Bring it on, man.
The trailer was so amazing that we watched it.
Oh, we did. I'm so excited about Ghostbusters. Man, this gets me looking forward to 2024 for sure. I've heard such good early impressions of Godzilla in going against King Kong. We may have somebody on the show that actually worked on this movie. Hint, hint.
Oh,
by the way, I'm working on it. So maybe
awesome.
We'll time it in March for its release. That'd be kind of cool. Some of these I don't know. Jones or the Fall Guy.
Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Oh, yes, we talked about that.
Yes, looks
episode?
amazing.
I have an admission here. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I've never seen these, the new ones. Never seen any of them.
Oh, they are great, I think.
I've seen the old ones. So I need to just do a movie marathon and get caught up because they always look amazing.
And then a couple more I don't really recognize. This one, no trailer yet, but A Quiet Place Day 1. So the premises is they're taking us back to when this first started.
Oh, yeah. I cannot wait for that. I love all the Quiet Place stuff. Let's see, what else do we have? Bad Boys. Will Smith. I don't know. Should he be in movies right now?
Now, my question is he going to slap some people?
He may. That would be hilarious. That'd be a good way to turn it around.
Some quick mentions. Twisters. It's a continuation of that 96 Twister movie. Such a great one.
It's like a part 2 to Twister? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton, I believe is his name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bill Paxton. Yeah. Yeah. You're going down the list here. Deadpool 3. Ooh.
Yep.
Gonna have the Wolverine in it. We've already seen the leaked things. Oh, dude. There's
Untitled Alien movie.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Yeah. Because I love all the Alien movies. Beetlejuice 2. Look at that. Bringing back some Michael Keaton.
Now, I'll let you pronounce this, but Joker's Folie et Deux, maybe? Do?
Oh, yeah. Folie et Deux.
Okay, cool.
Probably something.
I skipped French class in high school, so.
I didn't have it either. I just made it up. Of course, the first one was awesome. I'm a little hesitant. Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Here's my hesitation. I hear there's a musical.
You can't change Margot Robbie.
But here's the thing, though. Robbie, by the way, it's Margot Robbie.
Oh, Robbie. Okay.
But here's the thing, though. I hear there's a musical song and dance routine in it. And that's where I'm like, all right, are they going to do a Spider-Man 3 here where it just kind of jumps the shark? And it worries me. We'll see. Venom 3, Gladiator 2, Wicked Part 1, which is adaptation from the Broadway musical. Oh, The Karate Kid. Did you see this announcement?
I did.
Yeah, it was Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio did an announcement. They're partnering together to do this. Now, for those of you who don't know, Karate Kid lore, there was a Karate Kid with Jackie Chan. It was not Karate Kid, in my opinion. It should have been called the Kung Fu Kid. Don't get me started. I'll get off my soapbox. So
Now, the next one I'm very excited about, Lord of the Rings, War of Rohirrim.
so good. Oh my God.
Yep.
I can't wait.
I'm super excited for that one.
We need to have my friend John on. He's like a Lord of the Rings expert, but he's also like a Star Trek expert as well. We need to have my friend John on.
Well, that sounds great. Before we screen this movie, we can have a little backstory.
Recap. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh boy, Mufasa, the Lion King. So they're doing a whole thing about Mufasa at some point. Sonic the
Everybody's
Hedgehog.
got to have an origin story.
Everybody's got to have an origin. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Those are popular. Nosferatu.
Yep.
Now, let's be clear. This is a remake of the OG original Nosferatu, not the one based off of the most recent novel that they had, which they made a TV series.
Well, reading that, Bill Skarsgård, who played the the clown in It, super creepy guy.
He's
so for him to play the vampire,
he'll do great.
Dracula, it's going to be amazing. Yeah.
So it's important to note with all of these, because of the writer's strike and because of the actor strike, many of these may get pushed. I anticipate a lot of these getting pushed. So
absolutely. I wouldn't trust the date that is on any movie release.
On any of them.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if they even push Ghostbusters to summer. I
agree.
It says March, but a lot of these were already pushed. So we'll see, but it's going to be stiff competition. But
yeah, a lot to look forward to next year.
So, geez, that was a marathon. Good episode to end on. So our closing comments here. I just want to say our first season that we did, this was a blast, Doug. Thank you for doing this with me.
Yes, I know for letting me join you.
It's a hard time commitment. Doug works crazy hours. He works night shift most of the time. It's a struggle for us sometimes to try to find the right time because life is busy. But I always walk away from it having a blast. I always learn something new. I love every single one of our guests. I want to have them back on and more. I want to expand that out. Looking ahead at 2024, looking at the games, looking at the movies, we have so much cool stuff to talk about between that, the advancement of AI. It's a bright place, man. It's really cool. I'm excited about it. And the last thing I want to plug before I toss it over to you is our merch store. So definitely check it out. Look at the merch store. We got even some exciting things. It isn't just about the interviews too, right? You mentioned we were just talking about Comic-Con last night, right? So we got some events we're going to go do. So we'll branch out. We'll try some new stuff. We'll experiment. It'll be your experimentation. So, Doug, what are your closing thoughts for 2023 as we head into 24?
Yeah, looking back, we started this in February. I didn't know how long we'd last. I didn't know how far it'd go, but the adventure's been great. I'm not to be too sentimental. I enjoy our friendship, the people we've talked to, the adventures we've gone on. And I think 2024 season 2 is going to be great. We're going to try to do more interviews, deeper content, talk about the things that you all want to talk about. And definitely check out our store. We're not in this to make money. We're in this just to pay the bills, keep the lights on. So if you kind of want us to bring the content to you, help us out there a little bit. That's my sales pitch. Now the ad's over. This is an ad-free program here. So
no, I like it. We do keep it ad-free, but the big thing is we try to use a service. We use Riverside, which is a service. It helps us with our interviews. It also ups our game on, because Doug and I said, look, we're going to do this. We're going to do it right. We're not going to, a lot of people we know or don't know even podcasts, they just they half-ass it. And they're just going to be like, oh yeah, let's just do it in a basement. And, I'll use this microphone from 1993.
We try to bring a level of professionalism to you there.
If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And I record in a closet. So obviously I changed my green screen. I don't have a beautiful game room like Doug does, but
I got wild animals walking in the background,
Exactly. And Doug, remember, he upped his game too with his microphone over this. We didn't talk about that.
Upgraded cameras and microphones several times.
We want
to bring you all HD quality content.
We want to put out if we're going to do content, even if we only have a handful of people, we want it to be good. We want it to be quality. And so that's what we're always shooting for. So, we do pay for the Riverside service, but, anything that you get on the merch store helps us have the highest quality possible, because it isn't about making money. It's just about us paying for the subscription service that we have in order to have our virtual studio in order to do this and to make sure that it is out. Now, I'm going to try something here. They have a feature on Riverside we've never done before, and this is how we're going to end it. It's this live mode where they have sound effects. So we're going to end this season with clapping. Let's see if it plays. job, Doug. Good job. Good job, Doug.
So we are going to be fancy next year.
We're gonna be fancy. I know. Before every joke or whatever, I'm gonna before Doug
We need
makes
a
his
laugh track.
I'm
Like
gonna
sitcoms. Yeah.
there you go. When you do a reveal,
Awesome.
that's what I should have done
There
when
you
you
go.
opened your gift.
Dang it. Next year, yeah.
Next year. So anyway, we want to thank you all for visiting us week after week, or even for those that just dip in and dip out on the topics you like.
Yeah.
This is fun. We're having a blast. We're going to have a good year in 2024. We want to wish everybody an awesome Christmas. Have a great time.
Yes.
Enjoy time with your family. It's what matters. Have a great New Year's. Take care of yourselves. And I think that's going to round it out for episode number 42,
Yeah.
season 1. Doug, final comments.
Yeah. Again, thank you all very much. We will see you next year. Happy Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year.
Everyone, take care.